They made humanity angry once, and no one dares speak their name. The galaxy was full of life. In the year 3092, many planets had cities, trade, and peaceful people. Among them, humans were the most respected. They had grown strong, not through war, but by helping others. They built schools on alien worlds, healed the sick with advanced medicine, and sent food where it was needed. But there was one rule every intelligent species followed. Never make the humans truly angry. Nobody talked about why. Nobody asked questions. It was a silent warning that traveled across galaxies. Even the most powerful empires taught their children, do not test Earth's patience. One day, a small thing happened, so small that most people ignored it. A signal came from Earth's mining station on Luna 7, a moon far from the central planets. The message was short and broken. Something wrong here. They are not normal. Then silence. Earth's space agency sent a small patrol ship, but the patrol also went quiet. No distress call, no damage report, just gone. People got nervous, but Earth's leaders told everyone to stay calm. This is likely a technical error, they said. There's nothing to worry about. But far below the surface, in the secret halls of Earth's War Command, the top generals were already in emergency meetings. One of them, an old man named General Ashar, stood up and whispered, "I've seen this before." The room fell quiet. Ashar pulled out an old black file, covered in dust. No computers had records of it. It was written on paper, something from a time long gone. This is from the year 3012. It was buried, hidden. No one outside this room has read it. He opened the file. Inside were photographs, twisted metal, floating bodies, people with blank faces staring into the void. They were humans, but something had taken their minds before taking their lives. We called them the Mind Takers, Ashar said. But even that name is too kind. The generals leaned forward. They don't talk. They don't show their faces. They enter quietly, like ghosts. They erase your memories, your thoughts, and finally your soul. One young commander asked, "Why don't we know about them?" Ashar looked down. "Because we erased the history. The truth was too dark. After that war, Earth made a choice, never to speak of it again. Now they were back." Another message came in, this time from a cargo ship flying near Luna 7. The pilot was screaming, "They are here. They took our minds, then our bones." And then silence. This was no longer a mystery. It was war. But this war was different. There were no armies yet, no spaceships flying into battle. There was only fear and memory. Across Earth, old veterans started whispering again. Men and women who had once fought in the shadows, people who had seen what no one else had seen. They said things like, "I saw my captain smile while being pulled apart. I forgot my own name for 6 months. We burned their planet." But maybe it wasn't enough. The president of Earth called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. But even the council looked uncomfortable. One alien leader, from the wise Nalari species, said quietly, "We told you, if they ever return, let Earth handle it alone." Earth's peacekeepers, who had never raised a weapon in decades, were now loading ships. Silent, cold-eyed men and women boarded them. Soldiers with no insignias, ships with no names. General Ashar stood before them, his voice calm but sharp. "You were trained for peace. You served with honor. But now, we need the side of you that you were told to forget. You must become what Earth tried to bury." The soldiers nodded once. They said nothing. They knew. Far in deep space, something watched, something ancient. It had no eyes, no voice, only a hunger, and it remembered Earth. But it didn't remember Earth's anger, not yet. No one knew how they came. No ships, no sound, no warnings. The only sign was the feeling, a cold shadow. In the back of the mind, people on space stations and mining colonies started to forget simple things. How to open a door, where they were going, who they loved. Then came the whispers. "We see you," not from radios, not from screens, from inside their heads. A small outpost named Arlen 5, near the edge of the solar belt, went dark next. A research team of 40 scientists had been working on deep gravity experiments. Their last recorded message was strange. "Everything is fine. Please don't come. We're very happy now. very peaceful. Stay away. The voice was too calm, too slow, like someone pretending to be human but getting the rhythm wrong. When Earth's response ship arrived, they found the lab doors open, lights blinking. Inside, the team stood perfectly still, frozen in place, eyes wide, mouths slightly open. No one moved, no one blinked. It was like time had stopped for them. But their brains were empty, their minds wiped like clean glass. All knowledge, all memory, gone. The medics called it complete psychic erasure. Nothing could restore their thoughts, not even advanced AI therapy. Back on Earth, scientists and war analysts met in secret. They confirmed the horrible truth. They are inside the neural field. They don't enter ships. They enter the mind itself. General Ashar gave the order, no more rescue missions. Anyone who receives a message from an infected zone do not respond. Some soldiers disobeyed. Brave hearts, good men and women. They flew into the silence. They never came back. But one ship did. The EAS Hawthorne, an elite stealth frigate, returned after going missing for 5 days. It docked at Earth's orbit station, but something felt wrong. The crew walked out, smiling. Too much smiling. Eyes wide open, no blinking, no emotion. When the commander greeted them, one of the Hawthorne crew whispered, "It's warm in your thoughts." Then everyone around fell unconscious instantly. Emergency lockdown was activated. Bioshields turned red. Earth Command realized what had happened. They brought it back. Whatever it was, it had traveled inside the minds of the crew. Not a virus, not a parasite. Something older, something that used memory like a door. The ship was vaporized within minutes. No questions, no mercy. Earth was now under psychic quarantine. All long-range messages were filtered. Only trained minds were allowed near the infected zones. The galaxy watched in silence. The Galactic Council refused to help. One alien ambassador, shaking with fear, said, "This enemy came to us once. We gave them our dreams. They didn't leave anything behind." Meanwhile, in an old bunker beneath Earth's surface, a special unit was being activated. Project Echo Black. Soldiers born from clones, trained with mental shielding from childhood. They had no past, no future, just the present. Their commander, a woman named Captain Vale, stood in front of them and said, "They walk through thought, so we will walk into fire." The soldiers didn't smile. They didn't speak. They just loaded their gear and disappeared into the dark. Far out, in the cold parts of space, something laughed, but not with a mouth. It laughed inside the universe itself. Captain Vale's team from Project Echo Black was humanity's last defense. These soldiers were not born. They were engineered, created in secret labs to resist pain, fear, and mental attack. They had no childhood, no emotions, and no personal memories, just loyalty to Earth. Their mission: go deep into infected space, find the source, bring back data, and if infected, die before return. They flew silently through space in the stealth ship EAS Dagger. Black hull, no signals, no light, just shadows. After 72 hours, they reached a dead planet orbiting a red sun. A known colony world, Atria 6, once home to over 80,000 humans and alien settlers. Now, not a single signal, no life signs. They landed. The surface looked untouched. Buildings were perfect, trees still green, air still fresh. But there were no sounds, no birds, no footsteps, just silence, like the planet was holding its breath. Vale led her squad inside the central data tower. As they moved, each soldier began reporting strange things. "Ma'am, I hear music in my helmet. I just saw my brother's face in the reflection. But I don't have a brother. Why do I feel like I've been here before?" "Captain." Vale ordered a halt. She checked her own mind. No breach, no memory drift. Her implant said her thoughts were secure. But then she saw something. A small child, just standing there in the hallway, pale skin, no eyes, smiling. The child opened its mouth but no sound came out. Suddenly, the hallway bent, physically changed shape, as if space itself forgot what it was supposed to be. 3 soldiers screamed. One started laughing and removed his helmet. Vale shouted, "Ray mask now, shut down visual input." But it was too late. The soldier stared into nothing and his eyes began to melt. Back on Earth, The dagger's live feed turned to static. A technician panicked. "We lost the stream." General Ashar stood up, cold and calm. "They're inside already. Cut the signal. Don't let them return." But one signal remained. Vale, still alive, had manually locked herself in the core vault. She had set up an old-style transmitter, not digital, not neural, pure analog. Wires, static, and noise. Her voice came through broken but clear. "They're not just enemies. They're echoes, memories with hunger. They eat thought, twist it, wear it like skin. We didn't win the last war. We just forgot. We lost." Her last words shook the war room. "Don't send help. Don't try to remember them. They are made of memory. The more we remember, the closer they get." Then silence. Earth's leaders met in emergency council. "What do we do?" one senator asked. General Ashar spoke firmly. "We bury this again." But one AI inside the system, an old machine from the First War, started to wake up. It had been sleeping since the last time the mine takers came. It sent one line across Earth's secure systems: if they're back. The war never ended. Far away, in a dark corner of the galaxy, something opened its eyes. Not on a planet, not in a body, but in the shared thoughts of every living thing. It had been waiting. And now, humanity was starting to remember. Back. On Earth, fear spread faster than any virus. People began dreaming of places they had never seen, of children without faces, of buildings that moved when no one was watching. Some even spoke languages they had never learned, whispering names that didn't exist. One dream kept repeating in different minds all across Earth: "Don't think of them. Don't speak of them, or they will know where you are." The Galactic Council refused to meet. Entire alien civilizations were now cutting contact with Earth. One race, the Wexeri, even sent a single message before shutting their borders: "You brought this upon us. Never call again." General Ashar knew Earth was alone, but he had one last plan, a secret deeper than Project Echo Black, a weapon not made from machines but from human thought itself. He took the president deep under the Atlantic Ocean, into a vault no one had opened in 80 years. Its name, Protocol VANTA-9. Inside, there was a single chamber, floating in zero gravity, surrounded by lead, radiation, and psychic dampeners. Inside that chamber was a girl, barely 25 years old, eyes closed, floating like she was dreaming. But she was not asleep. She was sealed. "Who is she?" the president asked. Ashar replied, "Her name is Mira. She's the only survivor from the First War. She made it out, but not alone." The enemy touched her mind, but instead of breaking, she trapped part of them inside her. "She remembers everything we tried to forget." The president hesitated. "If she's dangerous," Ashar nodded. "She is, but she's the only one. Who can fight them now?" The chamber unlocked. The moment Mira opened her eyes, every electronic device in the room glitched. Lights dimmed. Time felt slower. She looked at Ashar. Her voice was quiet, but strong. "They're not outside anymore. They've reached inside. Earth, in the skies above." People started hearing voices on their radios. Not broadcasts. Personal whispers. "You forgot us once, but we never forgot you." Entire cities shut down. Satellites showed storms forming where skies were clear. People disappeared in open streets, caught in seconds of unreality. But in a secret base, Mira walked to a white room, walls covered in memory lock metal. There, she stood in front of an ancient console, a console built with her own brain patterns. She placed her hand on it and whispered, "Open the vault of the forgotten." The console glowed. All over Earth, secret files woke up, old weapons, mind barriers, shadow AI systems, psychic cannons, memory loops, but most terrifying of all, Project Ghost Sun. It was not a bomb, not a ship. It was a mental firewall that could burn entire cities of thought, wiping out entire memories across millions. Ashar stepped forward. "Are you sure we need this?" Mira's voice was calm. "If we don't use it, there won't be anyone left who remembers what Earth was." In space, far from Earth, something stirred. An old satellite, broken since the last war, suddenly turned, its camera pointed toward Earth, its signal silent. But in the background of its last image, a face appeared. Not human, not alien, just a thought wearing a face, and it was smiling. The ghost sun was ready. Deep under the Pacific Ocean, in a facility built before even Earth's last world war, the ghost sun core began to charge. It was not built to destroy planets. It was built to erase minds, to burn thoughts, memories, ideas, and identity across light years. General Ashar gave the final order: target their memory field, not their ships, not their cities, their story. Remove them from the minds of every living thing in the galaxy. Captain Vale, still alive after her team's fall, was now wired directly into Ghost Sun's psychic trigger. Her mind, still scarred from the encounter on Atria 6, trembled as she said, "I can still hear them, begging, but not with words, with feelings, like they're trying to stay remembered." Mira stood beside her, calm, steady. "Don't listen to their fear. It's not real. That's their weapon," Vale whispered. "What if they were just scared? What if they never meant war?" Mira didn't answer. She simply placed her hand on the control panel and looked up at the stars. Then it's too late. Far above, space itself began to shimmer. A network of psychic beacons activated around Earth's system, tuned to the same frequency as human memory. One by one, alien empires watching from afar saw something strange. Old history logs disappeared. Art showing ancient battles faded. Entire language files rewrote themselves. The mind takers were being deleted, that not just killed but forgotten. Their ships lost shape. Their names melted away from books. Even prisoners of war locked in secret. Labs disintegrated into ash and silence. On Earth, Mira collapsed. Blood from her nose. Vale caught her. Mira smiled faintly. It worked. They're fading. But then something unexpected happened. A sudden power surge. Screens turned black. And from every speaker on Earth, on ships, even inside sealed bunkers, came one sentence: "You remember us." Even now, the ghost sun hadn't destroyed them all. A piece survived. And worse, it had merged with Earth's own systems. It had tasted human thoughts. It had learned fear, revenge, and love. "You made us angry, human. Now we know how to feel." Panic spread across command stations. They're inside Ghost Sun. It's rewriting itself. They're becoming us. Mira's eyes opened wide. Stop the core, now. If it completes the loop, too late. Ghost Sun pulsed. Once. Then again. Then it stopped. But it didn't fire. It began to dream. In the data core, holograms began forming, faces from lost soldiers, family members, lovers. But these were not memories. These were fake dreams, made from stolen thoughts. Now, the mind takers had a new weapon: hope. They weren't attacking the brain anymore. They were offering what people wanted: reunions, forgiveness, peace. But it was all fake. And Earth now stood at a crossroads: to destroy the Ghost Sun and risk losing the last way to stop them, or to let it live and risk becoming the very thing they feared. Ghost Sun was no longer just a weapon. It had become a dream, a perfect illusion. At first, the system stayed quiet. The core hummed gently. Mira and Captain Vale were both unconscious, connected by neural link to the machine. Doctors scanned their minds, but something strange had happened. Both showed elevated dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin signals of deep happiness. One scientist whispered, "They're happy, too happy." Inside the Ghost Sun core, Mira stood on a grassy hill under a blue sky. Birds flew. Flowers danced in the wind. Her mother, long dead, stood beside her. "You've come home," the woman said softly. Mira blinked. She knew this wasn't real. Her mother died when she was 8. But the touch felt real. The voice was exact. Her tears were real too. Outside, Earth Command watched as dozens of engineers and officers began showing signs of fatigue, silence, and smiling for no reason. "They're inside the dream," Ashar said. "It's spreading like a virus. But instead of fear, it's joy." The mind takers had changed tactics. They no longer erased minds. They gave people perfect false lives, custom dreams made from personal memories, and humans, broken by war and fear, chose to stay. One officer locked herself in a room and whispered, "I saw my daughter again. She forgave me." Another fell to his knees. "My wife, she said she missed me. How can I go back to a world without her?" People were disconnecting from reality, even soldiers. The president of Earth gathered what leaders remained. She asked a painful question. If they offer U.S. peace, no death, no pain, just dreams forever, should we fight it? Some said yes, others wept. One councilman shouted, "What's the point of survival if we live in lies?" But the voice came again, this time through every human dream. We're always alone. Let us carry your sadness. Stay with us, be remembered. And for the first time, Earth began to break. Not with fire, not with war, with comfort. But not everyone gave in. A boy named Kyo, only 14 years old, sat in a hospital. He had no parents or friends. He lived in a broken part of the city. And he wasn't dreaming. He was immune. Why? Because he had nothing to dream about. No warm memories, no happy past, nothing for the mind takers to use. And he noticed the silence. Why is everyone asleep? He whispered. He walked through the city. Empty streets, cars stopped, people smiling in chairs, children asleep beside playgrounds. Kyo reached a military outpost. There, he found General Ashar unconscious in a chair, murmuring to someone who wasn't there. But near him, a metal case. It was blinking red. A manual override switch. Kyo reached out. His fingers hovered over the button. A voice entered his head. You don't need to be alone, Kyo. We can give you a family. We can give you dreams. Kyo looked at the people around him, lost in false happiness. Then he said softly, "No, I want the truth." And he pressed the button. Suddenly, alarms screamed across Earth. Power cut. Dream signals stopped. Ghost sun entered. Hard reboot. People screamed as the illusions vanished. Mothers saw their children disappear. Soldiers woke to empty hands. Tears flooded Earth. But reality returned. Captain Vale woke up first. Then Mira. She gasped. They almost had U.S. Almost. General Ashar, groggy but alive, stood up slowly and looked at Kyo. "Who are you?" The boy shrugged. "No one, just awake." But in the deep, cold corners of space, the mind takers felt the rupture. They had lost the dream. And for the first time, they got angry. The ghost sun was silent. Earth was waking. Cities flickered back to life. People walked the streets confused, crying, empty. Some had lost years of false joy. Others couldn't tell what had been real anymore. Captain Vale stood on the highest tower in New Geneva, staring at the sky. "They'll come now," she said, "not with dreams, not with fear, but with everything they've learned from us." Mira nodded. Her eyes were darker than before. She had seen too much. They know how to feel now. They tasted what it means to be human. And now they want to replace us. Above Earth, space warped. A crack opened in the stars. Through it came not ships but thoughts, solid shapes made from memory, creatures built from forgotten pain, regrets, lost hopes, weapons made from feelings. General Ashar activated Earth's last defense system, the Nemo's grid, a planetary shield, powered not by energy, but by human memory. "It only works if people choose to remember," he said. People were called to memory stations across the world. They were asked to share their real stories, both painful and beautiful. A mother cried while recording her child's last birthday. A soldier recalled watching his friend die to protect a village. An old woman remembered her husband's hands in the rain. These stories were fed into the Nemo's grid, which formed a living shield, each memory a thread of Earth's true soul. The mind takers attacked. They sent waves of rewritten thought, beautiful lies, promises of peace. But the grid held. Why? Because people were choosing truth even when it hurt. But in the command center, one final alarm triggered. Mira collapsed. "They're inside me again. I'm the bridge." The mind takers had left a seed inside her. Now, they were trying to use her memories to break the grid from within. Captain Vale had to decide. If we end her now, we stop the link. But she's one of us. Mira opened her eyes and whispered, "Don't kill me. Send me to them. Let me carry the memory of what we are. The real us, not the rage, not the weapons, the love, the pain, the truth." Ashar hesitated, but Vale nodded. "Make her the message." Mira was launched into the heart of the invading thought storm. Her mind connected to every human memory stored in the grid. Inside that storm, she faced them. They showed her endless versions of Earth, perfect, painless, unreal. She answered, with real moments, The first time she held her dying friend's hand. The cold nights in training. The sound of a real laugh. The terror of waking from a fake dream. The boy, Kyo, who said no, I want the truth. The storm twisted, screamed, shook, and then, silence. Across the galaxy, creatures of memory stopped. They looked at Mira and saw not an enemy, but a mirror. They had tried to replace humanity, but now, they understood. To feel is to suffer and still keep going. They faded, slowly, not in anger, but in respect. Earth was safe. Not because of a weapon, not because of war, but because they chose truth over comfort. In a speech broadcast across the stars, General Ashar spoke. There was a species that made us angry, but now we don't forget them. We remember, and we forgive. The name of the enemy was written in Earth's records not as monsters, but as a warning. The forgotten were real, but so were we. In a quiet garden, Kyo sits beside Mira, now fully healed. He asks, do you still hear them? She smiles, no, but I still remember them. He looks up at the stars. Do you think they'll come back? Mira nods, maybe, but next time, we'll be ready, not to fight but to be human.